Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday night in my part of the world. A nice January winter evening. Hopefully, you're all doing very well. Come on in, the film chemistry is fine. Well, it will be once I actually make it. So, welcome, welcome, and welcome. Thank you for the resub, Icarus. 13 months. Damn. Where the hell does the time go? That's just... Ah. I just... Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your continued support. Please keep enjoying all of those lovely, lovely emotes. Yes, we are going to be developing some film tonight. This is film that I shot mostly with my good friend McKenna this past Sunday. It's a mixed role. It's about 3/4 McKenna and 1/4 Dead Things, the last of the Dead Things that I shot back on Halloween when I was on Long Island. So, mixed bag here. Well, thank you for coming on and spending some of your time tonight. Much, much appreciated. So right now, we're going to get started. Just about finish setting up my film. To go into the film changing bag and the canister, which is behind me up in the upper right, because right now, nothing's happening. You just see me and my ass. So, that's... Hello, and the model herself shows up. Good evening, McKenna. Just about to get started. Obviously, this is not my studio. Welcome to my kitchen. So, but yeah, let's get started. The only, so, I figure we're gonna take things a little slow since this is not an artist back alley event. I'm not rushed. I don't have that time. Since I only have an hour. We can take our sweet time. The only chemicals that I have prepared beforehand are developer and the drying agent, which have to be prepared beforehand. Because for the developer, you cannot use fresh developer as soon as you make it, because when you make it, it's at least 104 degrees Fahrenheit, and you will fry your film at that temperature. And the drying agent I had to make ahead of time because you use so little of it. It's 5 milliliters for every 5 milliliters of this chemical for every liter of water. So it's like if to try to make as much for 20 ounces worth, forget it. So I make that a liter at a time as well as I do with the developer. The rest, the other chemicals, the stop bath, the fixer, and the wash shade, I will develop fresh right here, show you how I do it. Usually I have the chemicals all prepared, but I figured tonight we'll take things slow. I only have one roll of film to develop, so no sense in rushing along, because once the developing process itself takes about 35 minutes from the time I pour the developer into the developing tank to the time I pull it out. And it's all said and done. So if you are new here, welcome. If you've seen me do this before, also welcome. But I'm gonna go through step by step. You may have already seen this before, but if not, enjoy. And if you have, enjoy. So, how do I develop black and white film without being in a darkroom? That's what I'm going to show you. Because you can do this without a darkroom. It requires two things: a light-tight film developing tank and a film changing bag to get the film into this. Now, if I was making photographic prints with traditional light-sensitive photo paper, that I need a darkroom for. We would not be doing this. Although, it's kind of one of those challenge-accepted sort of things. Like, if and when April and I get a house, I'm going to figure out a way to try to stream from a darkroom. I'm going to try to figure out how to do it. It's probably going to be very red and very, very strange, but I'll figure it out. Ah, photography fact. All right. We will just about... All right, Icarus, you have redeemed photography fact. So, pick a number between 1 and 14. $13. All right. This one is a pretty simple one, and not surprising. So, the number one most viewed photograph in history is the default wallpaper for Windows XP. And if you don't know what that photograph is, I will show you. We have to reach back into the dark recesses of... Let me pull that up. Oh, that's too small. Don't give me that. Ah, all right. Let's pull it up. Let me just quickly pop over to my monitor display. Boom. Yep. Let's drag you over. It's that image. That's the Windows the Windows XP default background is an actual photograph. And I'll give you some of the history on that particular photograph, since you asked for it, Icarus. It's called Bliss, and it is the default, that's the default Windows XP background. It is a virtually unedited photograph of a green hill and a blue sky with clouds. This is located in the Los Carneros American Viticultural Area, located in California's wine country. A photographer by the name of Charles O'Rear took the... That's an unfortunate name. Charles O'Rear took the photo in January 96. Microsoft bought the rights in 2000, and because it was Windows XP, it is very, very likely the most viewed photograph in history. So, there you go. That is your photography fact there, my dear Icarus. All right. Now, let's get started on our film. So, the components of a film developing tank, not many. So, we've got our lid. This is not part of it, but this is the star of our show tonight. This is a roll of Ilford Delta 100 speed film. So we have our lid, and then we have a light-tight funnel. This goes into the developing tank. It's the top. And for this particular tank, it locks into place. This is where you pour all your chemicals into. And below that sits a spool, which is sitting on just a center rod. This is where we're going to load our film onto. This is an adjustable spool. This can fit, I can adjust this so that it goes down to 35 millimeter. I have it set to take the roll of medium format. It's pretty substantial. It's almost 300% larger than a 35 millimeter roll. So we're going to separate all this stuff out. And we're going to load it into the film changing bag that you see in the upper right camera behind me. Now, what this is a double layered zippered bag, and it's got sleeves on either side of it. And we're just gonna load up all of our things. Did I mute? Yes, I did. I accidentally hit mute on the audio there. We zip this up. There's some Velcro on the end here. Make sure to add, it adds another layer of closure. Now now on the both ends of this double layered bag is very, very tight elastic. So when I put my arms in here, it's going to form a very tight seal around my forearms to minimize the amount of light that gets in. So yeah, this part I have to do completely by touch. This was one of the hardest things I had to learn when I learned, during my early days of film photography, when I took photo 1 in high school. Doing this because while my college had a designated area in the photo lab, film changing closets, where you didn't need this bag because it was a completely light, tight room, black room. This was what I had in high school, and this part is frustrating. If you're an absolute noob at this, I would suggest that you wear gloves, because you don't really want to get your fingers all over the film, because your fingers have oil on them, and nothing is more frustrating than when you develop a roll of film and you'll either go into the darkroom to make prints, or you'll scan it in your film scanning, you see a big old thumbprint. You're like, oh, that's a gorgeous image, and a nice big fat thumbprint just ruins your image. But I prefer not to use gloves for this. I mean, not only have I done this a billion times, but also, with practice, you learn how to, you grab the film by the edges, so you don't actually touch the image itself. So what I'm doing here is right now I am prying open the seal so that I can start unrolling the film. Now, medium format film such as this there's 2 layers. You have the film, and behind that is a paper backing. We're gonna throw away that paper backing, and you'll know what it feels like, because you'll get to the film and like, there's celluloid. That don't feel like paper. And there we are. I found it. Now I'm gonna take that end of the roll, and I'm gonna load it up onto the spool. Now there are guides on that white plastic spool that allows you to feed the film into it. And now that that's loaded, you just twist the spool, and there are ball bearings which will pull the film from its initial reel here. So I'm taking it from the roll and loading it onto the spool. Now, because this is only 16, because a typical roll of medium format film only has 16 images, it doesn't take too long. When you get to the end, you'll feel a little tension, and there's a little piece of Scotch tape that holds the film to the paper backing. We want to peel that bit of Scotch tape off. Because we're not developing tape. And sometimes it's a little bit of a trial to get off, but... And there we are. Tape is off. Now I'll just twist the end of the film spool and load the rest of the film. Just about there. There we are. Okay. The film is now entirely on that spool. Where's that center rod? There it is. Yeah, how did I know? I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that, Live Deaths. Good evening to you. Okay, we've put the spool on the center rod. It's now in the tank. We're going to take the funnel, put it over that, snap in place, put the lid on. All right, the lid is on, and we're done. So now, that entire roll of film is now in here, and what's left is the paper backing that the film was on. That's it. The plastic piece I'll save, that's reusable for my next roll of film. And where is that little piece of Scotch tape? There it is. And there we are. Film's loaded. Glad I came in at a good time. You have a happy talent for doing that, Live Deaths. And so now what I'm going to do to give myself some more room in here is I'm going to clear this table and chair out of here. So let me put headset down. Right. Cheers, Live Deaths. All right, let's move the camera away from my ass and to the our next major components of the show here. So we've got our tank here with our loaded film. Now I gotta prepare the chemicals. Now I've already said that I've made the developer beforehand, so I will just fetch that. Are you my developer? Yes, you are. Labeling your bottles is a good idea, because I keep all of my chemicals in these brown glass jugs. And this is fresh developer. I made this 10 o'clock this morning, so it's about as fresh as you can get. It has come down to room temperature. So the developer that I use is Ilford ID11. Since I shoot Ilford film, I develop with all Ilford chemicals. You don't have to do that. There's plenty of developers and chemicals that you can use. I just like to keep things all uniform, and also when a filmmaker designs their film so that you get the best results using their paper, their chemicals. So I just keep everything uniform, but it is not a hard and fast requirement. When I was in college, I shot Ilford film, but we had Kodak developer and stop bath, and we had off-brand fixer, and so not a hard and fast requirement. I use ID11. It's a very, very good, cheap developer that gives me consistent, great results. It comes in a powder form, which means it's very cheap and lasts forever. It's like $7 to $10 a box, depending on where you find it. And because I don't shoot a whole lot of film at once, this makes 1 liter. You can buy them buy larger quantities, but that's what I use. You mix it up beforehand, and you make sure you get plenty of time to cool back down to room temperature, because when you make it, you need to mix the powder with at least 104 degrees Fahrenheit of water. It's 40 degrees Celsius for those who do not use our silly American freedom units. So I know that this canister holds about 20 ounces. It holds 20 fluid ounces, which, since I have a medium format roll in here, I'm gonna be using it. If I was doing 35 millimeter, I'd use less, and it tells you how much right on the bottom. If you're shooting, 35 millimeter, 10 ounces, medium format, which is also known as 120 film. At minimum of 18 ounces, I use 20. It'll hold 20, and also it just makes my math easier. So for the developer, we can develop this film one of 3 ways. We can use stock developer. We can use by stock developer, I just mean this is stock developer. You just pour it right out of the jug and into the tank. You can develop using a 1-to-1 solution of stock developer and water. So equal part stock solution, equal part water. Or you can do a diluted solution of 1-to-3. 1 part chemical to 3 parts water. I always like to use 1-to-1. It was the method I was taught. I've developed using just straight stock developer. I find 1-to-1 gives me the most even developing, because using just straight stock developer is the quickest. 1-to-1 is the middle of the road in terms of time, and 1-to-3 takes quite a while. So I do not have that time at the moment. So I always do 1-to-1. So I'm going to put 10 ounces of stock developer to 10 ounces of water. Now the water I use is filtered water. So I use a Brita pitcher right off the camera. Say that. There we are. That black Brita pitcher. There you go. Say hi, Brita. Disclaimer, this stream is not brought to you by Brita. So, where's my... So you're going to want some thermometers as well. This will be very helpful. So let's go 10 fluid ounces. Almost 10 right on the nose. Another few drops more. We'll have our 10. Awesome. There we are. Put this off to the side for now. pitcher here and get my water. Oh, just as a courtesy to all of you, once I get started, there's going to be a lot of running water. So if you have to piss, please do so now. You have been warned. So we have our developer. So I use 5 different types of chemicals when I develop a roll. I use the 3 mandatory ones, which is developer, stop bath, and fixer. And then after that, I use something called a wash aid, and then I use something called Ilford, which is a drying agent. Those last 2 are not mandatory, but they make my life a lot easier. So now we're going to make some fresh stop bath. Like, very fresh stop bath. Like I said, usually I have all this stuff prepared beforehand, but... So, Ilfo Stop just looks like that. And it's a yellow liquid that is mostly citric acid. And it's exactly what it says on the tin. You pour this in as soon as you finish dumping the last of the developer out. It stops the developing process dead in its tracks. Now, to mix this stuff, it's another one of those very, a little goes a very long way. You mix it 1 to 19. So one part Ilfo Stop to 19 parts water. So for this purpose, my math is very easy. 1 ounce chemical to 19 ounces water. Which, hey, what do you know, equals 20. Funny that. Not only is this fun, but you're getting some good old-fashioned learning. Are we at 19? We're at 18. Hey, absolutely easy math. This is science. And good evening, Winged. There we are. We have our 19 here. Just a couple of drops too much. And I have a small measure here, which gives me 1 to 5 ounces. So let's put that right in the sink. Get our stop bath ready. Are you an ounce? Yeah, you're an ounce. Pour you right in there. And there we are. Now you look like you have the urine of a dehydrated person. I mean, Winged, you joke, but you could use orange juice. You could use any... I mean, like I said, the stop bath is mostly citric acid. So, I mean, if you didn't have stop bath, you could use just straight water as a stop bath. But you would need to constantly agitate for more than... Yeah, I'll pour that into the developing tank. It will take 30... You leave it in there 30 seconds, and it's completely stopped the developing. Water, probably at least a few minutes. So that's the stop bath. Our next required chemical is the fixer. And so what the fixer does, the fixer removes any undeveloped silver that's still left from the film and gets rid of it. It takes that silver off that film. It stays in the fixer's solution, so the silver is in solution, science term. And then when the time is up, you just fixer. Technically, fixer can be reused. Of all of the photochemicals that we have here, fixer's the only one that can be reused. If I was developing prints in the darkroom, I would then take this used fixer and use it for prints. Big industrial photo labs back in the day, when they would develop a ton of film each day, they would save the spent fixer because it had silver in it, like elemental metallic silver that was in solution. And at the end of the day, they dump it into these big old reclaiming units that would draw the silver out of solution, and then they'd send it in. They'd either, send it back to Kodak or whatever, and they get some cash for it, or something. They'd get compensated for that silver, and then Kodak would take that silver and reuse it for more film, making more film. But the amount of silver that's contained in the solution from one roll of film is virtually nil. I forget somebody did the math on this, but it's like you would need to develop something on the order of like 100 and some odd rolls of film before you even got close to anything actually measurable. Like, all right. So for fixer, it's Ilford Rapid Fixer. It's 1 to 4. So 1 part chemical to 4 parts water. So 4 ounces of this to 16 of water. So I'll go once again to my off-screen water pitcher here. Are we 16 ounces? Yes, we are. Is it soup yet, Mother? I won't need the measure for that. Just take this, because we're already at 16. Just go all the way to 20. All right, here we are. We have our fixer. The last chemical I'm going to prepare is something called wash aid. Now, I said this was not a mandatory chemical, but it makes my life easier in the following way. After the fixer is done, now you then have to rinse the film. Normally, you'd have the film without this chemical, without this wash aid, you'd have the film under running water for at least 15 to 20 minutes so that you could get all that residual fixer that's still clinging to the film off of that. Because if you don't, what'll happen is that that film will start to yellow. It'll start to it'll eventually degrade, or it'll degrade quicker. What this wash aid does is in the span of a couple of minutes, like about 3 minutes, just gets all that fixer off. Which is great if you're on a time crunch, or you happen to live in an area where you have to pay for your own water. And this is like the fixer. This is 1 to 4. So, again, 16 ounces of water. Now again, I know I'm taking my sweet time here, so thank you for your patience. But this is for the curious out there. This is all the prep work that goes into film developing. And that is 16 on the nose. I've gotten good at this. And the Ilford Delta, the drying agent is already made, so I don't need to whip up any fresh chemical that. But this is going to be later on in the process, so I actually do not need you for the time being. Alright, all of our chemicals have been made. All of our chemicals have been made. We have our developer. We have our developer, our stop bath, and our fixer right here. Now I need to take the temperature. And we are just about ready to go, but now I need to know what my temperature, my film temperature is, the developer temperature is going to be, because that's going to determine the time. The ideal temperature for film developing is 68 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 20 degrees Celsius, but you can develop black and white film at lower or higher temperatures. There's a chart that will usually come if you hold on to your box, the cardboard box that your film comes in, or even the developer, the box of the developer. It'll tell you what those times are for not 68. So if you're developing at a colder temperature, you need to add X amount of time. If it's warmer than 68, then it will be less than you need less than the normal time. So I always like to develop at 68 degrees, which is why I have this accessory. This is not a hair dryer. This is a film chemistry warming device. I have not once used this on my hair. And it is at 64, so I need to bump this up 4 degrees. And the fixer is a little bit colder than that, at 62. I need to get all of these up to temperature. So before I do that, I just have to take a quick look at what my developing time is. I think that's 11 minutes, but I want to be sure, so I will just be right back. Yes. It is 11 minutes. So I'm going to plug in this hair dryer. Apologies, it's about to get very loud. I will do my best to not drown you all out. Provided it turns on. That would also be a smart move. you no worky. There we go. Alright, let's warm up our chemicals. I feel like the guy on the Will It Blend commercial while his stuff's going. Starting to move. Developers are 65. Developer is just about there. It's just still has a little to go. Alright, developer is just about there. We can pull that off. Alright. Alrighty. And the stop bath I'm not too concerned with because that's not going to be in the drink for too long. So what I'm going to do now is I forgot to reset my developer timer here. I had it set for when I developed Ilford Delta 400, which is 14 minutes instead of 11. So we're just going to let that run down to 11 minutes. Oh yeah, we have hit 68 exactly. Good. So I've been on already for about 45 minutes, and I've just shown you the prep. Now again, this is just for your education, and this is the behind the scenes stuff that I know some of you are interested in. Well, how did he do it? This is how. So I hope you're enjoying yourself. The fun is about to begin in 2 minutes. Once that gets down to 11, we will start. As I forgot to reset that. Now you'll notice that I wanted to get the developer, the stop bath, and the fixer to be right as close to 68 as possible. And I do that because, again, I want it all uniform. And if you have fluctuations in temperature by, plenty of degrees, like within like 3 or 4, you're fine. But beyond that, you run the risk of having a grainier image. So I want to try to keep them as close to 68 as I can. And I could have developed at 64. I don't have the chart on me, but you can always get it from your film developers, your filmmaker's website. They always have that information. They'll tell you. But now we're about to get started here. So we've got the lid. Now, me taking this lid off is not going to affect the film. It's that funnel. That's the actual light-tight component of this. And that's why it's currently snapped in place. You still need a way to pour the chemicals in. So we're about to do that. Yeah, we are in nice and tight. All right. With our 68 degrees. And here we go. Developer. Underway. All right, we close the lid, and we're going to agitate. Constant agitation for about 30 seconds so that the film gets nice and covered in that developing solution. Constant agitation. Yes. Yes, indeed. And then we're gonna agitate for 10 seconds every starting minute thereafter. So right now at the 10. All right. And we are officially underway. Now the reason why I do a light slam on the counter after the agitation is to get the air bubbles off. Because if there's air bubbles clinging to the film, That's an area where developer is not hitting the film and you get uneven developing. Because a fingerprint you can edit out in Photoshop. It's tricky, but it's doable. An air bubble, you can't. An air bubble, you cannot. So yeah, if you missed it earlier, the roll that I'm developing, this is a mixed roll. It's about 3/4 images that I shot with my friend McKenna this past Sunday. We did a photo shoot together. It was mostly digital, but I shot some film. I'll be doing those on an art stream next week, and McKenna herself will be joining me in all probability next week to talk about the outfit that she made for that shoot. So that'll be exciting. I am looking forward to that. Oh, I'm looking forward to it, Icarus. God, I really need to talk to Tiny Dragon on Fire and see if we can get like constant agitation merch. I feel like that is a very me thing. But yes, McKenna, she is working on some Edwardian. She's making like historical costume. You know, this is not a cosplay thing. She is dabbling into making historical costumes. So that's what we shot. 7 minutes to go in this first part. Tiny Dragon on Fire has like a bat signal. McKenna does outstanding work. It is always so much fun to do a shoot with her. After we're done here, I'll show you one or two of the raw images that I will be working on. So a little more than 6 minutes to go. The next step is the stop bath. That's this urine over here. Now, the reason why I needed to check why this has a different development time than other films, like this was Ilford Delta 100 speed film, which is 11 minutes at 68 degrees. Ilford Delta 400 is 14 minutes at 68 degrees, and the reason for that is because the microscopic grains of silver that are on the emulsion side of the film, the grains on 400 speed film are larger than 100 speed film, so you need the additional time to develop. The bigger the number on a film, the larger the silver grains are. So you have films like 100 speed, 200 speed film. Those are considered very fine grain films. 400 is your average general all-purpose. That's when I typically use the most. And then 800 or higher, you know, we get larger grains. And it bears out in developing. The bigger the number, the grainier the film. And that's also true in digital photography. You know, the sensor in a digital camera sort of replicates that, like, especially when you're in low light. All right, 4 minutes to go. Also, if you ever decide you want to do this on your own, the most important thing is that once you pour that developer in here, you're committed. That's it. Hopefully, you're not doing anything for the next 35 minutes. So how's everyone out there doing? How's everyone out there this evening on this chilly January evening? Hopefully you are all doing well. Thank you so much for spending some of your Tuesday evening with me. If you're interested in seeing more of my art, you can type in !art and it will take you to my card page, which is basically, it's my link aggregate. It'll take you to my Instagram, my website, my Patreon, my Vero, because I also do a lot of not safe for work photography. I do a lot of nude work, and which obviously I can't share on Twitch or Instagram, but you can certainly see that on my Vero and Patreon and my website. Thank you, Icarus. Also, if you have very sensitive skin, you should also probably be wearing gloves, which is exactly the thing I'm not doing, because luckily these chemicals they're not toxic. I mean, if you ingest them, you're gonna have a bad time, but they're not fatal. Working on a design for a fantasy costume commission. Yes, good. Down to the final minute. I'll be doing another shoot in about 2 weeks. I'm going out 3 hours west or so of here to see a friend and do a photo shoot with this particular friend for the first time. Stop death ready. Oh. I forgot to turn the water on. It's alright. It's not going to take too long to get to that point. All right. I'll flip that in a minute. Yes, I hear you. Shut up. I say shut up knowing that I have to hit a button to actually turn that off. Yes. Go away. stop bath is next. And this takes, this is 30 seconds or so. Just constant agitation for about 30 to 45 seconds. Or about 10 to 15 of these inversions. If only it were voice activated. Seriously. 5 more. All right, good there. Should have started this a while ago, but I forgot because I was chatting with you lovely people. Need to get my rinse water to 68 degrees. So we'll do that shortly. All right. Stop bath is done. I'll rinse the lid off. Pour this out. And next we go to Fixer. This, again, will remove any undeveloped silver from the film. Get rid of it and make this film safe for light. Now this step takes between 2 and 5 minutes. That's the range they give me. I always like to go around 4. So we'll do that in I'll start the timer in just a moment. And it's the same process as the developer. Constant agitation for the first 30 seconds. My rinse water is exactly 68. Holy shit. That doesn't happen very often. Seconds agitation after that. Oh, no, it got colder. Damn it. Did it? Put 2 thermometers in here. Which one are you? Yeah, it's getting a little colder. Let's just, but not by much. So let's just move this like a drop. Now we get to play that game with the faucet where, like, 2 micrometers in either direction will either mean the difference between lava and ice. If there's one thing I miss about the developing labs at my old college at Sage, it was the fact that we could actually there would be a thermostat and the water would come out at exactly that temperature. Set it for 68. Water comes out exactly at 68. But for the rinse water, I don't necessarily mind if it's 1 or 2 degrees, plus or minus 68. Yeah, that is exactly 68, and that is where we're going to stay. Good! Good! Which means we're going to need this wash aid that I put off to the side. All right. So now we can dump this out and do our first rinse. Now again, if I was making photographic darkroom prints, I would be saving this so that I would use on my photo paper, but I do not have that ability. Alright, now comes first rinse. Which gets done for a minute. Now, if you did not have the other 2 chemicals, the wash aid, or well, specifically the wash aid, if you didn't have that, you'd be running this under water for about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. And then you'd be done. But I personally don't want to be standing here for 20 minutes. Because I'm a bit of a lazy artist like that. Alright, next up is our wash aid. This is where you get your bicep curls in, this next step, wash aid. Because wash aid is constant agitation for about 3 minutes. So, there you go. Here's our wash aid. At this point, the film is safe to take out and be exposed to the light. The wash aid, as I've mentioned, will now just get the residual fixer off so that I'm not sitting here for 20 minutes letting this run. Even though I shoot mostly digital, film is something I will never ever abandon. I still love that tactile sense, that sensation. Because when this, even now, even though I've been doing this since 2003, that's when I started my first photography class in high school. After, it still feels a little bit like Christmas morning when this is all done and you take it out of this tank and you get, it's that sort of that moment just before you open the candy bar and see the golden ticket. It's that, did I do a good thing or did I just shit the bed? Like, I should have this, I should have the line from the Addams Family, like, on the wall in my studio. Because I say it every single time I get to the end. Even when I'm not streaming. Even if I'm doing this off camera. Just, spirits above me, give me a sign. Shall I be joyous, or shall I be damned? Most of the time, at the end of all of this, I'm usually joyous. But you never ever know. You cannot see what's going on in here. All right. And we're about to go to final rinse. And as you're about to see, it's going to look like a soapy mess. But wash aid isn't soap. But it is a cleaning agent. You can see all that sudsy goodness. You can't see this as I'm pouring it down the drain, but if I were to pour this into one of those empty containers, how you would know it has fixer in solution is that it would have a very slight purplish hue to it. Because if it goes in clear, it comes out a little purple. And now, final rinse, 5 minutes. We can now open the tank up and let her rip. And I'd much rather do a 5-minute final rinse than 20. Bubbles! Yes. I'm forever blowing bubbles. Oh, while this is going here. I guess it would be a good time for me to tell you that sign-ups for the next Artist Back Alley Raid Train are going on right now. To anyone who did not participate in last November's Raid Train, and also for any first-timers, any newcomers, So if you are an artist and you want to stream, and it could be in any medium, any creative, it could be sewing, it could be pottery, it could be painting, drawing, photography, whatever your little heart does, whatever creative endeavor you do. Somebody wants to type in exclamation point ABA in the chat, as I'm a little occupied at the moment. When that happens, a link will pop up. Other way, Icarus! Exclamation point ABA. ABBA! There it is. You only had it. That's okay, Icarus. I'm only half here is probably the general mood of most of our population the last 2+ years, at least. No worries. But yeah, the next Artist Back Alley Raid Train is the weekend of... I think it's February... I mean, I'll just check the damn Discord. It's the weekend of February 19th through the 20th. And it's a lot of fun. I love doing these things. So if you are an artist and you want to stream and share your work with a bunch of other artists, even if you don't want to stream and you just want to share your work, the Artist Back Alley Discord is an excellent community. I love them. It's probably one of the most supportive Discord communities I have ever been a part of. But yeah, if you want to share and you want to stream, and the Artist Back Alley Raid Train, we do. It's an entire weekend. It's a different artist every hour. It runs for like 12 to 15 hours each day. It's Saturday and Sunday. Different artist every hour. You get to meet a lot of amazing people. So yeah, that's the link to their Discord, and hopefully I will see you on the raid train. Also, pro tip: if you're new, if you're new to doing this, on your beakers, your flasks, for your chemistry, make sure you label them. There's a lot of we're using a lot of clear liquids here, and you do not want to accidentally, you don't want to mix up your developer, your fixer, or your wash aid, because they're all clear. They're all clear. I've done this for so long that, I can identify the chemicals by smell. Like, developer has no smell. Fixer smells like vinegar. Like, that really pungent vinegary smell that, that like the Pos Easter egg kit, that really, really pungent vinegar. That's what Fixer smells like. And Wash Aid looks... I can identify by the site because it looks like, soap bubble mixture. We are about done with this final rinse, and there's one final step to go. Go. Okay. Step 7 is the last. It's the wetting agent, wetting or drying agent. Same difference. And this is called Ilfotol. The only suitable analogy that I can give about this particular chemical is that it's jet dry for film. I don't know how many of you out there have dishwashers, but Jet dry is a popular chemical here that is used in the dishwasher. And what it does is that it prevents hard water spots from forming on your glasses and in all of your dishes. This basically does the same thing. It prevents and it minimizes spots, like hard water spots on film. Which, again, a bitch to Photoshop out. And for this, we don't use the full 20 ounces. We only use just enough to cover the film with. Done with you. And this is no agitation at all. We leave that for about a minute. And it also has a little bit of a bubbly, well, you won't be able to see it in this light. You might be able to see it on the other one. There we are. And while that is doing its thing, the final step. Because once we're done, once this is done, that's it. We're finished. Finito. And this is when the film is at its most vulnerable because both sides are wet. And what we're going to do is we air dry this. And I have a shower curtain, a shower rod, I should say, that's hanging up in the second bathroom. It's got a hanger and some film clips, and that's where I hang it. I hang it over the tub to dry. Because I do not have a fancy schmancy film drying cabinet the way my college does. So here we are. Now the moment of truth. I feel like I need to cue up the Legend of Zelda, opening a chest theme. Alright, so let's see what we get. Take this out. Looks promising. Pop off the spool. And what have we here? We've got images. There's McKenna, and there are the dead things. So I am very excited to see how this is gonna go. But yep, we've got a roll. It developed. So I'm gonna put this right down. I'm gonna put my headset down. I'm gonna race this over to the bathroom where this can start to dry. And that is how you develop a roll of film. Now that took me an hour and a half. Well, from prep to finish roll, an hour and a half just about. But again, that is how you do it. So hope if you have any questions, just ask. I'll be more than glad to answer any sort of photography or developing related questions. But I just want to show you a couple of the raw images that I shot with McKenna on Sunday. Some of the stuff I will be editing. So let me just switch back over here. Yes, you get to see infinite streams there. Here we are. Very good. So make this a little bigger here. So this is an outfit that McKenna has made. We got some corsetry. And then an additional piece that goes over that. And then we got silly. I broke out some hats and we had some fun. So that is that and the black and whites you guys will see because I'm going to be scanning that film in this week. Thank you, Icarus. I am looking forward to working on those. The 12 black and white images, I will be scanning those again this week, and you'll get to see those next week as well. So, and if all works out, McKenna will be joining me on the audio to talk about her outfits, and that will be quite fun. But yeah, that's basically it for tonight. Now I have to clean all this up and bring my entire my stream setup back to the studio. So that I have a little bit of work to do before I head to bed. So, but as usual, this will be up on YouTube in a couple of days' time. So, thank you all again so very, very much for stopping by and spending some of your Tuesday evening with me. I'm always glad and thankful to have the pleasure of your company. It really does help. It does help me deal with the fact that I cannot be my usual extroverted self because of plague. Because if I had my way, every single one of you would be right here in my physical company. So it's it helps. It helps to have you all watching. So let's see if we can share the love to anyone else. If anyone else is presently streaming that I can send y'all over to. Oh, my one remaining stream this week will be this Friday evening at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and that will be more BioShock Infinite. We finished the main game. And we have started the Burial at Sea DLC, which is set in Rapture. Thank you for the biddies, Icarus. Thank you for the 5 biddies. All the hearts. All of the hearts. Let's see. Who is streaming right now? How long has he been streaming for? I think we're gonna go to Fancy Schmancy. What's he doing? Oh, he is drawing some backgrounds for an animated show. All right, that sounds good to me. So we're gonna send you all over to Fancy Schmancy. Let me just stick that in the chat. Great. When you have, two monitors here. Making sure I spelled that right. And again, thank you so much, McKenna. Always great to do shoots with. I can't wait to do more, so. All right, my friends. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Wear a fucking mask. Get vaccinated. Get boosted. All of that fun stuff. And again, thank you so much for watching this constant agitation with me. See you Friday night. Good night. And joy be with you all.